Hi, I'm Tinni Garbes. I took BS Entrepreneurship in LaSalle. I actually studied fashion after I took my bachelor's degree in LaSalle. I took fashion in Central St. Martin's and in Parsons. So I took a lot of fashion courses, but I also took sustainable fashion, which is related to today's topic. So just to give you a quick background of how I came about becoming a fashion designer. The left is when I visited my 100-year-old grandma before I took fashion in New York. I told her that her outfit really looked good on her. And then she's been wearing this outfit for about I think 20 years now. She always wears this outfit every New Year. So she gave this outfit to me, and I was blown away of how the quality was really good, even if it's 20 years old already. So from that moment, I actually stopped for a moment and thought to myself, when was the last time I felt this good about the clothes I own? And I don't even remember if I actually have an outfit of this good quality. So I stopped for a moment and I thought to myself, when was the last time I actually felt this way about the clothes that I own? And I don't even remember if there are actually any clothes that I can give away to my kids in the future, because since most of my clothes back then were fast fashion. So back in the days, fashion was actually considered an asset. So during the times of our grandparents, remember that there wasn't such thing as fast fashion. So everybody would make patahe yung mga damit nila. They would really go to like fashion designers. And now, fast fashion is so, because of the rise of like globalism and capitalism, a lot of things have changed. Fashion has become more disposable now. The world has introduced us to, fast fashion, which is so fast, cheap, and convenient. So we don't realize that actually these cheap prices come with a price. So a price of having to pressure factories to deliver these thousands of garments in this short span of time. And also the pressure of giving low wages to the people who make these clothes. So I think the mission and vision of my company is really to bring back the value that lies behind the clothing we wear. And I also want to encourage a circular economy which promotes the notion of buying clothes that we can wear for a long span of time. So with Tinni, I don't want to just make beautiful garments. I also want to create a beautiful purpose. And altogether, the brand aims to encourage a community of conscious consumers. So basically, that's the mission, vision, and vision of my brand. So I just wanted to share like what sustainable, how we knew there was a problem about sustainable fashion. So most people think na parang the most polluting industry is the manufacturing industry or maybe the oil industry or parang yung mga factories that emit yung mga smoke, diba? Parang most of the time we think na parang yun yung reason why global warming is actually happening. Pero we don't really know that, to be honest, fast fashion is the second most polluting industry. And yun nga, it emits more carbon than international flights and maritime shipping combined. So imagine just how bad that is. So next, so it produces 10% of all humanity's carbon emissions. So yes, it is the second largest consumer of the world's water supply. So just imagine that how much water the fashion industry uses. Na it uses so much, parang I think 93 billion cubics of water that can make 5 billion people drink, something like that. It's really, really bad. There are around 80 billion pieces of new clothing each year, which is an additional of 400% as compared to 20 years ago. So, sobrang layo. And look, imagine, fast fashion brands produce 1 million garments per day in a day. And 85% of these garments gets thrown into the landfill. So just imagine, diba, parang yung fast fashion is technically as disposable as plastic. Technically. So yes, one garbage truck filled with clothes is burned and thrown away every second. So just imagine that. And the amount of clothes thrown away is literally enough to fill this entire harbor, this entire Sydney harbor. So that's how much clothes we throw. And also, 40 million people work at garment factories, and 85% of these people are women, and 1 in 6 people work in the global fashion industry, and only 2% of these people earns a living wage. Imagine. We just go as low as 12 pesos an hour, which is roughly about around 100 pesos a day. Imagine, what can you buy in 100 pesos a day? I don't even think you can buy food in LaSalle for 100 pesos a day. So imagine buying, is it really worth it to buy this, I don't know, 250 pesos blouse? Is it really worth it, knowing that someone was paid 100 pesos a day just to make that work? Na parang, how can you sell 120 pesos na t-shirt if you're paying the people right? So I think that's something now we can put into mind. So yes, this is pretty famous. I'm sure maybe one of you guys know about the Rana Plaza building in Bangladesh. So Rana Plaza building, this is a garment factory for fast fashion brands. So basically all the fast fashion brands you can think of, they work here. So of course, to be able to sell a garment for that cheap, you need to cut costs. So they didn't want to fix the building. The building was already collapsing. The government was telling them that the building is going to die anytime soon. But what did they do? They didn't fix the building, and this is what happened. People died just to make our clothes. Diba? Parang it's so sad to think na globalism and capitalism has made us so selfish na even me before, parang I just bought clothes without even thinking, sino bang gumawa ng damit ko? What is my outfit made of? So I didn't even think about these things before up until I took sustainable fashion classes. So just an eye-opener for everyone. So, okay, this example na lang. This girl, she had pneumonia. She's 14 years old, this girl in a blue scarf. She was brought to the hospital that day, and then she rushed out of the hospital to go back to the factory to finish her minimum quantity for that day, just to get a $40 bonus. $40 bonus is about 2,000 pesos. And that was like in a month. Her monthly bonus of 2,000 pesos. Imagine. That's not even like, that's like super below minimum wage. And she died that day because of, I forgot what happened, but she died because she wasn't supposed to be there. She wasn't fit for the job yet because she was sick. But just because she couldn't pay for her hospital bills, she died. So it's really just sad how like globalism and capitalism change everything, not just with the fast fashion industry, even with other things that we are consuming. So I think it's important to always ask ourselves, do we really need this or do we want it? Because there's a difference between wanting and needing something. So that's also another thing that we can put in mind. To be honest, I think since the pandemic started, the fashion industry has really changed in more ways than we can actually imagine. A lot of photo shoots stopped, fashion shows stopped, brick and mortar shops have closed. We are all living now in a new normal, hence we are doing this interview online. It's so much better if I can see you guys in person and share my advocacy with you guys. But we all just have to adjust to the new normal. I'm not sure if things can actually go back to normal, but I think one thing is for sure, we all have to reevaluate our business models and our way of life in general. And I think it's good to see this opportunity as a way to come out stronger. So, I guess for me, I really lost a lot of sales, of course. Events have stopped. I make custom clothes. So a lot of things happened. I had to cut down my production. I had to actually transfer to my new store now. I used to have like a store times 10, I think, bigger than this. But I had to adjust. And I think it's important to remind ourselves that now is not the time to really feel bad about how much sales we lost, but rather it's important to like shift our perspective and feel good about just really surviving. I think this is a good moment in our lives to realize that it's good that we are surviving as businesses and standing up tall as much as we could. Everyone is really affected by this pandemic, to be honest. All SMEs are technically a ticking clock. And one thing, if there's one thing I learned from the pandemic, it's really just to go back to our roots, support local, support your people, support the culture, our culture, and yeah, it's pretty much the gist of how my pandemic went. So remember, I told you guys I took a lot of courses because I didn't really know what kind of fashion designer I wanted to be. Basta, I knew that I wanted to make clothes, but I wasn't really sure what path I wanted to take. So I took random courses. And then my first day in my sustainable fashion class, my professor was like, okay, each and every one stand up and give us a story about what you're wearing. And then all my classmates were like, okay, I got this from a thrift store, or I got this from the flea market. This is passed down from my grandparent. This is made out of pure cotton, pure silk. And I was literally right there, and I was wearing like this outfit that I don't even remember when was the last time I bought it. And there's no story behind what I was wearing. So I honestly felt so embarrassed. So I stood up and I was like, to be honest, I really don't know because there's no story behind what I'm wearing. So parang that's my driving force. I kind of felt sad na parang I want to be a fashion designer. I want to make clothes, but these clothes don't mean anything to me. Like when I go through my closet, I don't even remember, I have this t-shirt pala. I have this polo pala. I don't even remember buying some of my clothes anymore. So I guess really that was my driving force into like starting to get myself involved in sustainable fashion. How do you familiarize yourself with sustainable fashion? Some people are actually confused. What is sustainable fashion nga ba talaga? Does it mean that I need to buy clothes that are recycled? Or does it mean that I need to buy clothes that are made out of pure cotton or pure silk? But I always tell my friends the first step to actually be sustainable is to actually just wear whatever you have already. So to be honest, I didn't really throw any of my clothes. It's not like, oh, okay, I hate fast fashion, I'm going to throw all my clothes. No, stop right there. You just have to like use the clothes that you already bought again and again, and until you can't wear them anymore. So I think that's the first step of actually familiarizing yourself with how to be sustainable. Just add value to what you already have instead of trying to keep buying new clothes for a new event. So it's really just mostly about that. I think the common misconception really about sustainable fashion is like, oh, galing yan sa sustainable brand, for sure mahal. Ganun. So I think what's really sad about nowadays, because of social media, everybody is kind of ashamed to wear the same thing, right? Like, oh, I already posted this on my feed. I don't want to post it anymore because nakakahiya, I already wore it for an event before. Why am I gonna wear it for an event now? So that goes back to how fashion was an asset before. Before, people didn't have a lot of clothes because it's not like I'm going to ask someone to make me a custom garment every week, right? So back in the days, our clothes were technically an asset. They were like our jewelries that we don't mind repeating again and again. Just like what I've said earlier, to be honest, sustainability is a weird topic because people sometimes say, well, yeah, I know there's a problem, but somehow the problem is not really about me. Parang it's this whole world na, this global warming, di ko naman kasalanan na may global warming. Parang sometimes we feel that way, di ba? Na parang, if I do something small today, like example, if I stop buying fast fashion today, it's not like the world will change. So I think sometimes yun yung naglalak sa mindset natin na our small actions can create big changes. So I think it's important now we actually ask ourselves again, what is our role in this world? And just to really accept that we are living in a critical era and you know that we humans are in charge of this global warming. It was a collaborative effort between everyone who made unsustainable choices in the past that made all of this happen. So why don't we make a collaborative effort now of making small changes together in order to save whatever we have left? So like from the word sustain, it's not like we can bring back whatever this world has lost, but at least we can sustain whatever we have left together. So I think that's a good thing to take it. And what does it mean to be an advocate of sustainable fashion? Actually, it's not that easy to take the road less taken. But I believe that people are now actually more aware. Like you guys, you're trying to raise awareness about sustainability, which is a good thing. Some of the people care less, but to be honest, most care more. Uh, in the in this world, we are all finding our purpose of doing things, and I guess this is my purpose. And I believe that the world is in need of new ideas and new avenues to create better innovations. And I think the youth is honestly just this world's chance, and that the new generation, we're all just the freedom fighters of this world. So technically, I believe that in this age of technology, there's a lot of things that we can do. Innovation is technically boundless. Like there's a lot of things like there are a lot of machines now that can regenerate new fabrics. So, there's a lot of opportunity for the youth to make changes in this world. To be honest, I think it's really just not to be scared about being vocal about what really matters. Because I think some people are scared to like voice out about their advocacies, thinking that not everyone would understand. But I think you shouldn't be afraid to take the road less taken. Do not forget the core of who you really are. And to be honest, if there's really this advice that I would tell someone, it is to really love what you do. If you don't love what you do, then don't do it anymore. So, yeah. So I think first, really, my advice to people, to the youth, is really just to remind yourself that it's okay to repeat outfits. And what is fashion really, right? Fashion is about expression, connection, the clothes you choose to wear is the skin you choose other people to see. So you shouldn't be ashamed to be seen in that red dress all the time. So it's actually nice na people can identify you through the clothes you wear. Like take for example, oh, that's Angelina in her red dress. Parang ganun. So I think that's one thing that we can put in mind nowadays. And of course, hindi ba when you're buying something, okay, take for example, you wanna buy a cell phone and it's so expensive and you save up for that cell phone and you really give value to that phone because you saved up for it. So I think it's important to remind yourselves now we don't need a lot of clothes. This excessive consumption isn't even making us happier. Isn't making our closets happier. Sometimes di na natin alam saan natin lalagay yung mga damit natin sa closet natin sa sobrang dami. So why not remind yourself that fashion can be an asset too, just like our cell phones. Why not save up for this quality garment so that you can wear it again and again? And in the long run, you can give it back to your kids. So if you think about it, cost per wear, it's actually cheaper to buy quality garments. So example, you are buying like this 200 peso shirt and it will break naman after a few weeks and then you have to buy again. So parang in the end, you kind of like spent the same price over buying this quality garment. Also, diba, isn't it so sad na, okay, let's say a drink costs around, I don't know, 170 pesos. And then you can actually find a 170 pesos t-shirt from like the sales diba, isn't that sad na parang your coffee is technically the same price as the clothing you are wearing? But like, since when did that happen? Na parang, diba? It's actually sad. But then also, again, I'm guilty of this. Kasi before, sobrang lalako talaga mag-fast fashion. I'm super kikay. I'm super arte. So I used to shop really, really bad sa and all these fast fashion brands, and I would go crazy when they go on sales. So I'm also guilty of this naman before. So it wasn't just an overnight thing for me, okay? Like, I really had to work hard for my advocacy now. And of course, I was so tempted to like buy from these fast fashion brands when I was starting my journey. So, sometimes we just have to accept that it's okay to be imperfectly sustainable. You don't have to be perfectly sustainable to help the world. Like, it's not okay, I need to stop using 100% plastic na, guys. Parang, I'm not going to. It's not like that. It's not an overnight thing. Sometimes, little steps can turn into big changes. And sometimes, like, I'm happy that I'm talking to you guys. How many are you guys? Like 7? I'm happy that I get to inspire you guys, and maybe you get to inspire someone else, and the domino effect continues. So, just like what I've said earlier, if you are on a budget, maybe it helps to, when was the last time you checked all your clothes in your closet, reorganized, and told yourself, okay, Marie Kondo na, which one sparks joy? But like, when was the last time you went to your closet and checked how many clothes you have, organize your clothes? Parang ganun nga lang, you'll find out na ang dami mo palang clothes, so you can actually mix and match na lang. So if you're on a budget also, I haven't bought anything new aside from mga retaso sa shop ko na I make into like new garments for like, I think this is my 3rd year already. So I haven't shopped fast fashion since then, and I'm perfectly fine. I only have like, I think I don't even have 10 dresses. I only have like 2 pair of jeans, and I'm perfectly fine. So I'm sure you'll be fine also. So, I usually just thrift shop really, because it doesn't matter if what you bought from the thrift shop is from fast fashion. It doesn't matter as long as you're elongating the life of these clothes instead of like having these clothes being thrown into the landfills. So, it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter, the brand of your clothes doesn't matter. It's also one thing to take note of. You don't have to buy expensive clothing. You just have to like reuse your clothes. You can buy from thrift stores. I guess that's really mostly my advice. I just want to share what are the 4 steps that I think is good to like take in mind when you're take into account when you want to be part of the sustainable fashion journey. So first, it's the circular economy. So now kasi what we do is we really just take, make, and dispose. So that's what we call the linear economy. But nowadays, people are now becoming more innovative, especially the youth. So we try to make this circular economy where parang yung mga retaso, let's take for example sa fashion industry. So when we have mga retaso or like extra fabric, what they do is they try to regenerate these fabrics and make it into new clothes. So, which is, I think, yun nga talaga, really the role of the youth nowadays is to think of new ideas, new innovations to be able to reuse and follow the circular economy. So if we continue doing this, I think there's a big chance for us to sustain whatever we have now. So yun, technically a circular economy is that all waste should become food for another process. So there, choose clothes with natural fibers. So yun, cotton, linen, silk, really. Synthetic fibers kasi such as polyester, the ones used in fast fashion, is technically made out of plastic, which is why it's so cheap. So I mentioned this earlier. So natural fibers are biodegradable, durable, they're heat responsive, and naturally repellent to mold and dirt. So that's one thing you should consider when buying clothes. You can check naman the tag if it's like pure cotton, pure linen, or silk. Most of the time, that's really environmental friendly. Okay, we can next. So yun, always ask yourself, this I made kwento this kanina, yung Starbucks coffee is equivalent na to 1 t-shirt. So yun, always just ask yourself, who made my clothes? What are my clothes made of? There's always a backstory to the clothing that we consume. They're not just clothes, but there's always a story behind it. Yun, and just like what I said, my favorite advice talaga is really to use what you have, go back into your closets and start to organize your clothes and keep using what you have. If you don't need to buy new clothes, then don't. So, yun. Always also repair your clothes. Minsan, konting butas lang, tatapon mo na. So, sometimes you can repair your clothes, buy vintage, swap, or rent clothes, or donate your old clothes before para hindi sila matapon or mapunta sa wala. So, share your clothes to your friends. I always ask my friends, sometimes kung wala akong, like, let's say I need a red dress for an event, I have this group chat with my friends. I ask, who has a red dress na I can borrow? So, I think we should normalize those things na it's not naman nakakahiya to borrow clothes from your friends, especially if you're going to wear it once lang naman. So, I think that's a good thing na, that's a good thing. So, yun. Thank you. Short lang.